What's up, Army? Welcome back to Redemption 46 Studios. I'm Nick.
I'm Curtis.
I'm Jarek.
And I'm Zach.
You know the vibes. Y'all seen the picture. Y'all seen the thumbnail. Y'all know why y'all here.
Why are they here?
August D. AMYGDALA. Finally. This video is going to be constructed very weirdly. Y'all are going to watch the first part, which is going to be a color-coded, and then the second part is going to be the live MV. If this is your first time on the channel, hit that subscribe button and become a real redeemer today. 70% of y'all watching this aren't subscribed, and I don't know why.
Put your noodles down and hit the subscribe button.
Exactly. Also, jump on the Patreon. By the time this comes out, I'm lying. Friday, the album review will be up, but make sure y'all jump on there today. It's going to be a lot of decent behind-the-scenes stuff, live performances, dance practices, and more talks from D-Day. But yeah, no long talk. We can get into this and have a conversation when we are done. Before you even comment or say anything, you better be subscribed because I just caught you about to do it. 70% of y'all aren't subscribed, and I don't know why. It's just weird at this point. Does Suge have the best album so far? Channeling his Juice World. So he's channeling his inner Juice World. This shit gonna slap live.
fucking fire.
That shit fire.
So, whatever that word is.
AMYGDALA.
Yeah, that word. A roughly almond-shaped mass of gray matter inside each cerebral hemisphere involved with experiencing of emotions.
Oh, yeah, I knew that.
So this is definitely fucking fire because he got super personal on this, which I find super dope when artists do that and let their fans into their personal life. Not like just to let us know, but, you know, just to let us know. If you know, you know. But he got personal and smoked this. The production, cadence. I don't know, Nick. You might be right. You might be onto something.
Oh, as far as like this album been crazy.
I only heard one song.
So we'll put you on some more and probably like do some other stuff so you can catch up. But this album's been crazy so far. I'm loving it. Like obviously the first like 3 tracks we listened to were more so drill. This is essentially like a rock and roll song masked as kind of like a pop song in my opinion. Just with like it sounds almost like grunge, like indie rock almost, but it has like those pop elements, and I think like it works very well on here. I'm a sucker for like the low tones almost when he was on like starting the pre-chorus and stuff, and then just kind of turning it into rock. Like like I know the live is gonna go crazy if he does like a live performance for this, especially with like a live band and everything. But yeah, this is like super personal and stuff, and it definitely feels like he's like being vulnerable and talking about like past trauma and like, you know, some stuff like that and everything.
Cancer. Just like all of that. That makes sense with like the title of the song. Like he's letting people know into like his emotions. Like this is what I've been going through. This is the pain. Y'all about to hear this pain in this song.
Zach got it.
I try.
Woo. But nah, this was fire, and I felt like too. As far as like on the album, this seems like a good like tone switcher a little bit. 'Cause like I said, everything so far has been kind of drill. So this would be kind of like so far like a swing song almost, where it's like, oh, okay, I'm kind of getting offered like, you know, something else. So I think like that bodes well kind of with the tone and the rhythm of the album, and it still feels, it still feels like everything still fits too and everything, so it doesn't feel completely out of place. But anything you would add, bro?
No, I don't think you guys, you know, pretty much said everything. You know, I'm not one to repeat what other people say, and you guys are just hitting it right on the nose. I definitely want to check out the rest of the album. This was amazing. Like you said, Zach, it's dope when artists let out that pain. That's real hip hop right there. You feel me? Involve us in what's going on. It's a nice backstory. Super catchy. I see this being a good karaoke song. This was fire. He's on to something. I like the growth of him as an artist, as a rapper, as a poet, as a writer.
You know, I'm reading more into this. AMYGDALA is a pair of small almond-shaped region parts in the brain that help regulate emotions and encode memories, especially when it comes to more emotional remembrances. Okay, so the AMYGDALA is, like I said, also like a core function in your brain. It's responsible for the perception of emotions such as anger, fear, and sadness, as well as controlling of your aggression. Like I said, it helps store memories of events, emotions, so that an individual may be able to recognize smaller events in the future. Interesting.
Fire.
It makes sense then. He talks about memories multiple times through here, and then is given experiences and everything too. Now this is deep. Then that makes a lot of sense. Let me see if there's anything else. They got a AMYGDALA hijack. person may not be able to develop a rational response. Signs and symptoms of emotional hijacks include racing heartbeat, sweaty palms, and inability to think clearly. People can try to prevent amygdala hijack by becoming more aware of how they respond to stress.
Damn, do I have that?
Ain't nothing worse than when you start reading like WebMD, you like, damn, am I dying? Like, am I alive right now? I thought I didn't feel
really
about
relate to
earlier
this.
and shit. He said I relate to fucking everything that was on there.
Right. Amygdala.
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 Yeah, this shit is super deep, and I'm not really gonna read all of it. It's not really my thing. This song's talking about depression, anxiety, and every thing else that people get prescribed drugs for. Don't take them all. They're trying to lock you in the system. Get out.
Free your mind.
You know, some people might really need them. But nah, this was fire. I can't wait to kind of get into more and then just do a deep dive. Jump in the comments, tell us how y'all felt about this. Tell us what y'all favorite track is so far. This might be up there for me. Also, jump on the Patreon. We're about to get into some more stuff.
This is amazing already.
It's lit. Straight up. He used to deliver pizzas before everything.
He's dreaming about that trauma, probably.
The accident. That was Jericho on my couch earlier.
Traveling through memories.
You put it up a little bit.
So that's how you got the scar?
When that second chorus kick in,
This is sad. This song is so great.
straight up.
Beautiful direction.
Taking them painkillers.
In Dechita, he also mentioned the pill popping thing. Beautiful direction. It's such a great metaphor.
Make sure y'all subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Jump on the Patreon. This might be the best song on the album. I think I said that on the album review.
You
know, I would.
Me too. It was already top 2, top 3, but
I will definitely agree with you, Nick. This is definitely a great song. Everything about this is just amazing to me. I've always loved August's rap style because it's real personal and real dark. You know what I mean? He's not afraid to talk about the things that most people are afraid to talk about. And as a rapper, you have to understand what your lane is and how to properly, utilize that lane and do things just to help people out. And I think that's what he did perfectly with this album. From the few songs that I heard, it was a lot of expressing himself, but just letting that pain go. As a rapper, as an artist, sometimes we have the tendency of going in the studio, always trying to make a hit. And one thing that I appreciate about Sugar is that he doesn't go in the studio trying to make a hit. He's just trying to let some pain out and just let his feelings out on the song. And you can feel that it's a hit. You know what I mean? It's a good song. I could definitely hear this playing on the radio. It has that like XXX Juice WRLD type vibe. Even with the utilization of the auto-tune, I think was perfect. A lot of people, we had this conversation before. A lot of people don't like the auto-tune, or they'll try to shame artists for using it. We know, we know Sugar could sing. We know if he really wanted to, he could let off, a nice little belt and just go off with his vocals. But it's not necessary when you're letting off, when you're just trying to convey certain emotions. You're looking for a particular sound that sounds like what you feel like, and I think he executed that very well, because it sounded kind of, the auto-tune in certain parts sounded jarring, but it was definitely purposeful. It felt like there was a lot going on in his mind, and he conveyed that with the sound. As far as the visual goes, the visuals were on point. You know what I mean? Like, a perfect representation of what his mind's going through. A lot of interesting shots. I love how it started with him getting in that accident. Not that I enjoyed seeing him get in an accident, but I thought that was a very interesting way to start the story. And, I related a little bit to the part, once he started, with the pills and stuff. When I was younger, being diagnosed with ADD and ADHD, the first thing doctors want to do is give you pills and just put you on things that don't make you feel like yourself, and you kind of just, that like it's for your betterment, right? That's what the doctor is telling you, that you take these and it's gonna control your emotions and feelings and you'll be better. But a piece of you feels lost. Yeah, like you don't really feel like yourself. You feel a little bit numb. And this was just overall great visual, and he has his own lane. He knows what he's doing in it, and he's continuing that message of making music for healing, which is what the label is known for. And he's not afraid to be raw and vulnerable, and that's something as an artist that you can't hide. A lot of artists, typically get lost in the sauce or fall off because they're trying so hard to, convey this persona or make music for a persona that they're presenting, when, Agust and Sugar, he's just really being himself. He's just letting the feelings be felt through his music. So this was just amazing.
Yeah, I think BTS and Sugar in general, they've mastered music. They now know how to sonically tell a story for it to be something that resonates, as far as like hitting people in your emotions, and also being able to make things that are, I don't want to call this like a club banger, but it's such a vibe that you can actually play this kind of out and about almost anywhere. This song has a lot of different applications, and it's just it hits on every level. I do agree. As far as the production goes, the use of auto-tune needed to be used just because of the mindset that I think he wanted to put everyone in. And even when you talk about like, you know, the amygdala and like everything and brain trauma and memories and everything, I feel like it just kind of doubled down on everything that he's contextually talking about in the song. Him showing the accent and everything, I don't want to say it was decent, but I think like I'm trying to find another way of wording it. It does kind of put you right into the video, put you right into his mind state. It shows you the trauma that he went through physically and how it affected him mentally. And I love the room that he's in. It kind of looks like the sunken place a little bit. And you know, it just it looks different enough though to where it's unique. Like it doesn't look like it's stolen from anything.
And it goes to it goes to show, you know, it's a visual representation of the word. I don't know how to say it, amygdala, whatever.
Amygdala.
But you know, that's, we talked about it before, how that's the part of the brain, you know, that is all about emotions and things like that. So even that crash that he had, like at the beginning, that kept replaying, I don't even think that's a like a physical actual car accident. Although it was presented that way, that can definitely just means you crashing with your other personality and just trying to, you know, when you like, you just black out and you just in your head, you know, like you just fed up with everything, you finally crash and you get stuck in your head.
Yeah, definitely was stuck in his head because throughout the video, he's literally trying to escape. So I thought this was phenomenal. Hopefully y'all watch the first part too, where we like discuss most of the lyrics and everything too. And I know Kurt probably gonna get into some more of the lyrics as well. But just from like a director standpoint, just kind of seeing everything that was done. He's done a masterclass. He's done essentially 3 different videos so far from the album, all 3 different feels, all 3 different looks, and 3 different emotions, and is yet conveying like the same duality almost with everything. And I do agree with you, Jared, and we talk about it more in the album review, that essentially even though he's expressing like a lot of vulnerability and talking about a lot of trauma, there is a lot of healing that's like going on with the majority of the songs, and I feel like at the end of all of it, you do get like a resolution and you get put in a better place. So yeah, Zach.
Definitely love this video. This song definitely has a lot of replay value. Definitely on repeat. But the video is very, very pleasing to the eye, in my opinion. It's definitely, like Jarek said, he's crashing his personalities. And that's kind of like how it is at the end, where he sees himself, then he's running away. He's running away from himself, or you can look at it, him trying to escape from his mind. So it's really like a lot of stuff that's going on inside of his mind that he's trying to run away from or get away from. Definitely love this. Like y'all said, the personal stuff is definitely a hit. Always, for some reason, definitely connects more with the audience, because that's what a lot of us are going through. A lot of us don't speak out on it, so people hold it in, and sometimes music is their go-to and they can relate to it. This was definitely one of those songs/albums that has that effect.
That is a good point. Talking about, and we talked about that too, like in basically compartmentalizing physical trauma and it turning into a mental thing, and you store it away for so long that when you do try to either get it out or try to get it resolved, that you get stuck in your own head at times, and it could be a burnout. And you know, I just like how he conveyed that on here, and I thought like it was really dope.
Like the rain was the pain, everything that he was going through. It was a lot of little symbols throughout this whole video. Definitely loved it though.
No, this was beautiful. I mean, this was masterfully directed. It was probably one of my favorite videos, honestly, that we've reacted to. Because it's like I really did love this song and everything, and certainly, you know, the emotion that he touches on in the song are incredibly deep, and you know, he talks about going through all this around a very similar time. You know, it wasn't even anything that felt like it was as spaced out. Like it felt like all this kind of trauma happened, you know, relatively around the same time. We're basically at the point where if he was even able to remotely try to heal any of this, the next thing just kept happening. And these are like catastrophic events. following one after the other. And even him saying, basically, even going through all that and not being able to tell anyone, he had no one that he could have really turned to kind of voice any of those emotions or opinions, or vent those feelings even. This is honestly an incredibly sad video. I mean, he's clearly, in that state of his mind. He's trying to sleep. He's being woken up by that PTSD of, that car accident, from when he was, being the delivery driver. And honestly, we've heard about that and everything before, but definitely kind of seeing it put to video form. And honestly, just first and foremost, definitely credit to, Yoongi specifically for even, because that takes a lot of bravery and courage to even kind of put some of that out there, and relive it to where you're portraying, all those emotions and inner turmoils again. So seeing all of that is really sad, but it also definitely, recontextualizes everything that we've seen throughout, even the Augusti character himself, as far as, the scarred eye, to where it was basically this instrument of a self-harm, basically, where it was basically you felt so much pain that, that was ultimately what you resorted to. And not only that, but even so is every time we've seen, and I don't know that I thought about this really until now, but every time we've seen that version of the character get killed off in any of the scenes, there was always like a devilish, like, kind of smirk beforehand. Like, there was never any hesitance, to where it's like, you're meeting me with more pain, like kind of like a put me out of my misery sort of thing. And that's just like incredibly complex to, have to talk about. But that recontextualizes certainly everything that, we've seen throughout. And it has like infinite kind of replayability as far as like, picking up on all those, hidden metaphors and everything. Like, I know I had mentioned, in Dechita, he had mentioned the pill popping before.
Mm-hmm.
And during the initial reaction when we had, checked it out, I thought it was a reference to perhaps, others in the industry as far as rappers and stuff, basically, being on pills and, that sort of metaphor. Took a very kind of surface level, but, basically to him, and I'm sure, the deeper you kind of get with, that lore and everything that he explains, is it definitely seems like it's a lot more of like this is what I almost took to numb my pain sort of thing. And again, the quick flashing editing and the directing as far as like, when it's talking about, the hospital scenes and everything like that, referencing, whether it was the hospital for his mother's heart issues or anything like that, and or whether it was a reference to, the father's liver cancer and stuff, just all these kind of events that would have led to like, a hospital type setting.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of pairing the pills with that is quite a powerful metaphor as well, because an instrument for healing, but also an instrument for something that'll slowly eat away at you as well. And the directing with him basically being woken up, kind of like a PTSD sort of thing, like unable to sleep, which I think ties beautifully into what we later see with Snooze as well, as far as like that passing that message on to someone else and allowing them to basically get that peaceful sleep and to remain hopeful, even if it's something that at least at the time that he wasn't able to do. So that's a beautiful full circle kind of moment in and of itself. But really too, I love how when he's essentially trying to crawl away for help, they use the instrument of the Dutch angle to make it seem like as though it's an uphill climb, to where essentially there's no way, because of the gravity of everything, that you would physically be able to do it. So it's like the closer you get, or rather the harder you fight to kind of free yourself, is the harder it gets on you. And I thought that just the simple use of that Dutch angle was a really powerful device to kind of portray that, and put that to screen as well. I know Zach had mentioned as well the rain, but I also felt that was like kind of like the pouring out when like you can't escape, when like all the essentially the tears kind of end up coming, to where it's like you just like essentially kind of vet everything out, I suppose. But I thought that all that was incredibly powerful as well. This is really beautiful, especially too the version of him that is the innocent version of him, let's say, or the pre-scarred version of himself, before the accident. I love that that's the person who's always, in this video, rushing up the stairs back home to try to free the traumatized version of Min Yoongi, and obviously like the door's locked. They both want the same thing. They both want that door to open. Whether it's the scarred version of him or kind of the him from his past. So I think it's really interesting that again, with the metaphor of the mind and, you know, the amygdala in general, as far as how it relates to your fear and ultimately your it's your self-preservation. It's a defense mechanism. It's meant to be there to protect you, of course. But it falls into that feeling where it protects you so deeply or shields you so much that you're essentially trapped and you can't escape. And that's a really powerful thing that the mind offers, but it's also something that can be really detrimental. So kind of even going about the ways of navigating that is, you know, incredibly complex. And for him to really just put all that to screen, you know, so beautifully with this directing, it's, you know, it's really one of the most powerful MVs I've seen. And I already love the song so much, but, you know, the visuals of this and how it, you know, ties into Dechita and certainly Hagum, if I'm saying that correctly as well, makes it all the more powerful. And just for him at the end to basically sink back into, you know, that couch where it's like almost just that like defeat of kind of falling, or not the end, but, you know, supposed towards the midpoint. They use beautiful montage, quick cuts to kind of emphasize like the flashing of everything kind of going on in your mind all at once. It's really powerful. You know, he touches on a lot here. He was incredibly vulnerable. The acting and the mental kind of, you know, courage and everything it takes to portray all that trauma all over again is, you know, I mean, he's really outdone himself with this album. Yeah, I can't say enough about this.
Yeah, and shout out to him. I do think he picked 3 perfect tracks to make MVs, which sometimes some artists have an issue doing, as far as like sometimes people pick like the worst song on the album to kind of make into like an MV, and I think he chose 3 songs that encapsulizes like on entirely what the whole album is, and just it's 3 different sounds and 3 different vibes. You good? You finished with there?
Yeah. One last thing I was going to add too is it's interesting at the end of Dechita specifically is the version of him that ends up shooting at the, you know, the long blonde haired king or whatever. How he has the scar on the one side of his face. The camera shoots that shot from the other side of his face. So basically, the clear side of his face is the one that's shooting at, you know, the greedy kind of king version. Mm-hmm. And I think that's interesting in how that ties into this, because that's basically the unscarred version of yourself that's trying to take out the scarred version of yourself. And just the whole metaphor of kind of how that talks about, you know, trauma and kind of repression and all those sort of things. It's all really powerful, and the way it, you know, the way this story kind of ties that you know, trilogy together and services everything in the album. I'm, you know, incredibly, you know, proud of him first and foremost, because that's a lot to talk about and to voice and to put out there to so many people. And honestly, just the fact that lastly, really, that he had to bury that for so much time, that now he's able to not only kind of vet a bit of that out, but also feel, you know, just get all that weight off of him, you know, just holding all that in for as long as he had, and to, you know, be in a place where he's able to, you know, kind of part ways with that anchor that was weighing him down for so long. Yeah, that's just a great human story on top of, you know, what is already musically incredible.
Yeah, shout out to Suge, man. It takes a lot of strength to be able to tell your story and be very vulnerable like this on the whole CD. I hope that, you know, this inspires other people to be able to live in their truths and be able to kind of seek help if they need it, cry if they need it, or just vent if they need it and everything. So this definitely is healing music at a time where people need it the most. So shout out to him, and shout out to all the accolades and everything he's getting, and he deserves all the attention and the love. Jump in the comments, tell us how y'all felt about this. Tell us like what your favorite track is on the album. If y'all love content like this, make sure y'all subscribe, man. This is the best YouTube reaction channel on the entire planet, and the Patreon is the most fire Patreon in the world. Jump on there. We got B-sides up on there, album review, behind-the-scenes stuff. All the new Dechita episodes are up on there as well. If you love Hybe in general, it's everything Hybe-related. If no one told you that they love you today, I love you. We love you. We're going to holler at y'all. Peace.